What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. I'm Chandler Rome, joined by Tyler Stafford on the day the Astros begin their first road trip of the season, a three-city, 10-game trip that takes them through Sacramento, Denver, and then Seattle. During it, the topic du jour, the topic everyone loves to talk about, the infield surplus. That will resurface, but I know everyone's waiting with bated breath to talk about that for 25 minutes. I know that really gets everyone going, and everyone's really happy to hear about that. So we're going to make you wait on that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. I don't think, what we didn't get to do, Tyler, in the last couple that we've talked about, we didn't get to talk about maybe some of like the more non-Astros things that occurred in the first week of baseball. We got our first look at, a couple different things around the sport, but I think none more prevalent than ABS. We got to see our first look at how it's going to work. We got to, teams are still getting a little bit used to how it's going to go, how when to challenge, when not to challenge, what teams are going to do to kind of how to handle this. But I think the first thing that was interesting to me, I didn't, and you were in the stadium for opening day, and I can't remember how many times the Astros challenged on opening day, but it's entertaining, man. Like
hmm
in the stadium, like it builds a lot of suspense. Like the minute a guy challenges something, like you kind of feel it in the stadium. Everybody like kind of holds their breath, and then it's very quick. It comes up on the video board, and then they have the pink thing that pops up if it's a strike. I did not expect it to have as much entertainment value as it's added to the in-game experience.
Yeah, there's nothing more American than everyone getting to cheer for an overturned call. That's just everybody loves that. It's great. It feels good to get the call right, and it's fast too. I mean, I don't think there was a challenge until like the seventh or eighth inning on opening day, and I was waiting the whole time, like, well, I want to see this thing, and yeah, as soon as they did, I mean, they tapped the helmet, and by the time the umpire announces, "Hey, this guy's challenging," it's already up on the board, and you see the pitch coming in. I mean, it's 5 or 10 seconds, and it's great. I love it. It gives um, like an extra bit of suspense to every pitch too, because you don't know if they're going to challenge it or not. So there are some that are like close, and I've started getting this feeling of like, do I trust this hitter enough to know not to challenge this because I know that they're upset, but I can see on the screen it's not a good, like, don't do it. You're kind of feeling that inside there, and then there are ones where you're just begging like your catcher to challenge. It's so close, but like you think you can get it, but they decide not to, and it just adds this element to it throughout. And I think it's great. I think having the limit of two, that maybe they bump it up to, three or something in the playoffs. I don't know, but I think the limit makes it really great too, because like I said, you have to be really confident. You have to be confident enough to publicly shame the umpire in order to ask them for the robot's help.
The Astros will enter play on Friday at in Sacramento. They've challenged 11 total times. They challenged 11 total times on the first homestand. Six of them came when they were on defense. So one was from the pitcher Rodri Munoz. The other five were from either Yainer Diaz or Christian Vasquez behind the plate, and then five others have come from batters, from hitters. They've won two of the five challenges when they are the hitting team. I believe Jose Altuve is responsible for the two that they have won, and they've won two of the six when they are pitching, when they are on defense. I think the thing that was always going to be interesting, and they even talked about this in spring training, a lot of the players and the coaches did, was that they were going to use maybe the first week or two to kind of feel it out, see when is the best time to challenge. I know Jose Altuve challenged a pitch in the first inning on this homestand, and he got it right. It was 2 inches below the zone, and it was called a strike. You've seen Yainer Diaz. I think Yainer Diaz on the second game of the year challenged a pitch in like the second or third inning that was pretty clearly a strike, and that was a tough one to take. We discussed the Roddery Munoz incident's probably a strong word, but Roddery Munoz kind of going against the establishment and challenging as a pitcher, the one thing that the Astros told their guys not to do. But what have you taken away just in terms of strategy? Like how do you think teams should best deploy this? Should it be you only challenge within the first 5 innings if you are 100%, 1000% sure that this is going to get overturned? Or like, if you were a manager, if you were in Joe Espada's shoes, how would you set the rules for ABS challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the player. Like, you know, I think Isak Paredes can challenge whenever he wants. He's got a very good understanding of the strike zone. I mean, like, Alex Bregman, I would just say if he touches his helmet, just go ahead and overturn it. I'm going to assume that he is correct. Um, I think the first one you can use whenever. I think having the one in your back pocket for the later innings makes sense. But yeah, I mean, as far as strategy, it's just, is what do you think? Is the pitch clearly not a strike? Well, then let's get that overturned, or obviously the opposite when you're on defense. Um, but yeah, I mean, at this point, I think it's just a trust factor of, you know, do you trust your catcher to make these decisions? And also, I think there is something to be said about an early challenge. Like I was watching the Yankees game the other day, and there were like 5 challenges within the first couple of innings, and it would get in my head as an umpire. I don't know if it actually does, but if those things are getting corrected in the second or third inning, I think it does affect how you call the rest of the game. Um, but yeah, I mean, as far as strategy, I think you definitely need to keep one. We saw that with the Astros game, earlier in the year where, like you mentioned, Yiner challenged one, and then there was another challenge pretty early on. I think Altuve challenged one, and it didn't work out, or no, Altuve was up, and they were out of challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a 3-1 count that should have been ball four, but it was called a strike. So you don't want to burn through both of yours before the fifth inning, but I think the first one just use if you're confident.
Yeah, if it were me, I would dictate it by counts, right? Like, I can't envision a world where challenging on the first pitch of an at bat, even like maybe within the first couple pitches of an at bat, I can't, like, there's very few times where that is maybe advisable. Now, if you're down 0-1 in the count and there's a very obvious ball that's called a strike, 1-1 and 0-2 are completely different things. But yeah, there was like a first pitch challenge at one point. Like, I don't see that being a suitable path forward. Maybe only if it's late in the game and a big at bat. But if you're challenging like the first pitch of an at bat in the fourth inning, like that doesn't seem like a logical use of it. But I think counts are important. I think when to do it in terms of like during an at bat is important. And you talk about kind of how umpires are reacting to this. I talked to Josh Miller a little bit. I talked to Josh Miller a little bit about ABS a couple days ago, and it sounds like I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound like sour grapes, like after the fact, but I think there's something to it because you saw it improve against the Red Sox. But they said that the Angels, part of why the Angels series went the way it did in terms of walks, in terms of they walked a franchise record 28 guys in 4 games, was twofold. One, it was that the Angels came in and they just did not swing as much as their metrics and their projections said they would. This was a team that they thought they could exploit at different quadrants of the strike zone. This was a team that they thought was going to chase a bunch. And they came in and they didn't do that. And the Astros think it was because ABS is in play now and teams are not going to maybe expand as much. Teams are going to be more reticent to swing. Maybe that has something. Well, I mean, we've talked about it with Jose Altuve. Like that has something to do with why he's drawn 8 walks in the first 7 games of the year. Carlos Correa said that. So it's that. And Josh Miller also said they noticed the umpires are calling a tighter strike zone just from the top, they're calling a tighter strike zone because it's one of these things now. Like you can call it tight, and if they miss a pitch, and it can be challenged. Like umpires may not like it. Umpires may not love, when things are overturned, but they do have that safety blanket. They have the safety blanket of like, all right, if a pitch is on the edge and I don't know, like I can go with this call, and then no, it's up to them to challenge. It's up to the guys to challenge, and they can get the call right. So I can't say that it's causation and correlation that, they walked 28 guys in the first 4 games of the season, got that sample size of ABS in, then, they turned around in the Red Sox and they barely walked anyone. They walked a couple guys, but not nearly the volume that they did with the Angels. So it's interesting. It's going to be a feeling out process. It's going to be something that I don't think they've got solved now. I think it's going to take, this is a sample size sport, so it's going to take a bigger sample size of having ABS. But from the fan experience, I think it's another win for baseball because, like we talked about the pitch clock. The pitch clock, people are in and out quicker. With the limited disengagements, you got guys stealing more bases, you've got guys having more action, and now you can have like drama and intrigue, like in the middle of an at bat with no one on base, or maybe in the middle of a game that's dragging and it hasn't had much action. You can create action just by looking up at the video board and seeing if that pink color pops for a strike.
And it also is just something to be said about you as a fan or as a player, or whatever. Like you do have the ability to overturn something that is clearly wrong in real time. Even when they instituted the replay reviews for calls of first base or tags or whatever, you want the calls to be right, but you don't want it to hold up the game. And I think baseball has just done an excellent job of adding the ability to make things right on the field without, slowing down the game so much that it becomes unwatchable. I completely agree with you. I think the pitch clock is great. I think the ABS has been great so far. 2 really good improvements to the game so far. I did want to point out, obviously this is very early. We're 7 games into the season. Last season, the Astros as a team had a zone swing percentage of 69%. And
Nice.
this year they're at, I know, right? This year they're at 65%. So they're almost 5% down in swings in the zone. So again, we've talked about kind of a new approach. Obviously it's a small sample size, but it is noticeable that they are swinging less than they did last season.
Yeah, and as we talked about, that's part of what they have preached as far as patience and approach, and what the new hitting infrastructure has asked them to do. But don't discount what ABS has done, because it can change the way guys approach at bats. And Carlos Correa talked about it with Jose Altuve. I don't think there's any better example than Jose Altuve. I think the only thing that you mentioned, like, all the good things that have happened. Like, we have replay now. Like, they go to challenge. Like, why can't they do this with replay? Because, like, it seems like replay, like the umpires call in New York, and they're just like standing on the field, and it's kind of, there's dead time. Like, if you're in a ballpark that really likes its home team, if they understand that the call is going to be overturned, they're probably not going to show it on the Jumbotron. So, like, you have a bunch of people just sitting around for a minute or two, and that's what you want to avoid. Like, that's what has maybe not killed baseball, but that's the biggest always detraction on baseball from when you talk to casual fans and you ask them why they don't watch baseball. It's like, there's no action. There's, it's boring. Like, you sit there and not much happens. And what they have done with all of these rule changes is that they have instituted more action, just in different ways. Like, they've got to pitch, like, you're looking at the pitch clock. You got to get your pitch off before the clock goes. Like, if the limited disengagements, like, there's always a threat of a guy that's going to steal bases now, because, if you pick off twice and you don't get them, then they're definitely going on the next pitch. There's a lot of strategy involved. ABS you have now, with everyone getting excited when the strike zone box comes on the scoreboard. They got to find something to do with replay that gets it to that nature too, because there's way too much of just umpires like standing there and no one knowing what's going on, and it's odd. But
Yeah, I mean it only happens, once or twice a game maybe. And I mean
I mean,
obviously the reason ABS is so quick is because it's automated. I mean
mhm,
it's a computer system, so it doesn't take long to do. I don't mind the 1 or 2 minute replay review challenges. Also, I'm not in the stadium as often as you, so it's normally being shown on the broadcast at home. So it's not that big of a deal when it's happening on TV. I could see if it were happening 10 times a game, but it's not. I don't think that's too big of an issue,
mhm.
at least from watching it at home.
We'll talk about a guy that doesn't need ABS, Isak Paredes, right after this message from our friends at Fox One.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Go get that new app. Stream baseball, stream football, stream World Cup action. You'll be watching.
Oh, definitely. I can't wait. I actually want to try and get to a game. But while I'm there, I'll still have my Fox One app. I'll have MLB, the great shows that Fox has, college football that I love, college basketball. They have it all. This really is the app that you can get all of anything you want to watch on an app. Fox One has it, and they are great at it.
Yeah, the big sporting events. And by the way, the World Cup is June 11th to July 19th. You can get a free 7-day trial of Fox One. So go check that out. And you can start your 7-day free trial today. Offers are subject to change. Go to Fox One for complete terms and conditions. Fox One, streaming now.
I liked Fox One so much I didn't even cancel my 7-day free trial that I got in spring
There you go.
training. So I still have Fox One. I highly recommend that all of you get Fox One as well. You can get Fox One and perhaps watch Isak Paredes at some point play for the Astros. I don't know how much it's going to be on this road trip because, much to everyone's chagrin, we have to talk about the surplus now again because Joe Espada did say this week that Jeremy Peña will return to playing every day. Or he didn't, I'll say that. He did not say he's going to return to playing every day. He said he's going to resume playing back-to-back games once the team gets to Sacramento on Friday. If he's returning to play back-to-back games, he's basically returning to play every day. So because they did what they did with Jeremy Peña on the first homestand of the season, playing him. He didn't play on opening day. He played the second game of the year, and then they alternated, right? He sat out 4 games, and he played 3 games. Because they were able to do that, they were able to mitigate this or hide this glut of infielders. Isak Paredes played 6 of the 7 games. He played 6 of the 7 games. He played them at 3 different positions. He played 4 of his games were at third base, and they were all the games that Peña didn't play. Carlos Correa moved to shortstop. The 3 games Peña did play, Isak Paredes DH'd. He played second base, and he didn't play at all. So as you get to Sacramento, and as they're going to write Jeremy Peña in the lineup every day at shortstop, when we were talking about this in the offseason, Tyler, all we had to go on was what all these guys did last year. Like you looked at Jordan didn't play at all. Jose Altuve had a bad second half. Christian Walker had a bad first half. Carlos Correa, was only here for a month and a half, so you didn't kind of really know what you were going to get from him for a full season. Understanding it's 7 games, it's around 30 plate appearances for each guy. We now have seen Christian Walker looks great. Jordan Alvarez looks incredible. Jose Altuve is now walking every other at bat with patience, and Carlos Correa looks great. You don't want to take any of these guys out, but you've got Isak Paredes. You've got a guy that you really value this offensive profile. What do you do?
My steak too juicy, my lobster too buttery. We got too many good players on this team. What are we going to do?
It's a good problem to have. It is. It's a good problem to have, but it's still one that needs to be discussed.
Is Jose Altuve going to play left field at all this year?
I would be fall on the floor stunned.
Okay. Who knows? I mean, they randomly decided last year to do it, so that's good to know.
The only reason I say I'd be fall on the floor stunned, he did not take a fly ball in the
Yeah.
7 weeks of spring training. He has not worked out there at all. They have Bryce Matthews and Joey Loperfido on the roster, two guys that are functioning well in this platoon situation and that can go out there. Like, it makes no sense. And
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, the easiest way to ease the glut, as we have decided to call it now, is if you can get Jordan or Altuve in left field, because that clears up a DH spot, or it clears up the second base spot for Paredes. So, you know, on these huge outfield road trips, that's where you're going to see most of the issues here. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how they're going to get everybody in. I don't know. Like, what do you think the lineup looks like tonight? I would assume Paredes is just not starting tonight.
You know, I would assume Christian Javier's on the mound, fly ball pitcher,
Mhm.
normally. I mean, he got 3 ground ball double plays in his last start, but normally a fly ball pitcher. You start to look at the outfields on this road trip. Alvarez did not play, I don't believe, at all at Sutter Health Park last year because that coincided with all of his injuries. So we don't have sample size there, but we do know that the dimensions in left field at Sutter Health Park are the exact same as the dimensions at the Oakland Coliseum. Alvarez has played 4 career games in left field at the Coliseum. I don't know that's apples to apples here, but I can't imagine they would play him in left field behind Christian Javier, especially because he is a fly ball pitcher. I could be wrong, but I can't imagine that's what they want to do now with Tetsuya Imai and Lance McCullers the next 2 days. McCullers pitches with the sinker, normally gets ground balls. I would think, maybe you play Jordan in left field behind McCullers, and then you have an off. Do you have an off? No, you don't have an off day. I thought you had an off day between Sacramento and Denver. You don't. Anyway, you could play him behind McCullers on Sunday in the last game of the series. Maybe that's the one time you play him out there. You're going to Coors Field after that. I would be, again, fall on the floor stunned if Jordan Alvarez steps foot in the outfield at Coors Field. And then you go to Seattle, where Jordan Alvarez has played 9 career games in left field at T-Mobile Park. They obviously feel somewhat confident running him out there if they've played him 9 times in left field at T-Mobile Park. Is he going to play 4 games in a row? This is a 4-game series. Is he going to play 4 games in a row in the outfield? He is not. I could see them maybe putting him in left field in Seattle for 2 of those 4 games. And that's the way you get Paredes in for those 2. I don't know how the other 2 are going to work out. But as far as tonight, if you're asking me tonight, I think Isaac Paredes may be out of the lineup tonight. Now, look, they could do a couple different things. They could put Paredes at second base and DH Altuve. That wouldn't work because you would have to put Jordan in left field. Again, you're running into all the conundrums. You're running into all like the roadblocks that Joe Espada is going to have to navigate here. And it's again, it kind of underscores why this was going to be such a difficult thing to do because, and I want to make this clear too, like they just played 7 games at Dyken Park where they're perfectly fine running Jordan Alvarez out there. He played 2 of the 7 games in left field. Like, if that doesn't demonstrate or illustrate that they don't want to overexpose him in the outfield, I don't know what will.
He's not that slow. It's not like he's incapable of playing left field. And there's not that many balls hit to left field in a game anyway. It's not like you're a shortstop, right? Where you've got to have just the best defense possible because the whole game hinges on your ability to convert those into outs. I mean, most of the time that a ball is hit to left field, it's either on the ground and you're just picking it up and throwing it back anyway, or it's in the gap and it's a double anyway, regardless of who's playing left field and the center fielder is going to get to it, or it's a fly ball that you can catch. I mean, again, you're going to lose some defensive value by not having your best defensive left fielder out there. But if I am writing the lineup, I am writing my best offense in until the defense is so untenable that I have to make a change. But right now, I'm just going to go with who are my best hitters? How do I get them all out there? And then if I need to do some defensive replacement later in the game, or whatever, that's fine. Maybe you pinch run for Jordan in the 7th or 8th inning, and then Bryce Matthews is out, whatever. Joe Loperfido is playing left field. But I want all of those guys in the lineup as often as possible. And again, until it doesn't work, that's what I would be trying to do.
Yeah, and you bring up the other point that, and let's put this out there too. Like, we're going off of what Joe Espada has said for the last 7 or 8 weeks, right? That Jordan's going to be the primary DH. They don't want to play him in left field a lot. He will play out there. They've never said he's not going to play out there, but they don't want to play him out there a lot. His career high in games played in the outfield is 56. I would be a little bit surprised if he approaches that number this season. Now, we're talking about this on April 3rd. Things can change in season. Like, Joe Espada is allowed to, have a change of heart or just see things happen and read and react and say, all right, like, we gotta scale back on this plan. Like, they had a plan last year to play Jose Altuve in left field the majority of the time, and they had to scrap that plan because the whole team got hurt. Could that happen this year where they just decide that, look, it's more valuable to us to put our best offensive lineup out there than it is to, for lack of a better word, protect or baby Jordan Alvarez in left field? They could get to that point. I'm not sure, but I don't think they're there right now. I think right now they're going to maintain what they said, all offseason, and that Jordan Alvarez is not going to play a lot in left field. He will play. I think he will play in left field on this road trip. They're going to play 10 games on this road trip. I would imagine he probably plays left field in 2 or 3 of them. We just laid out the ballparks where it would work. I think playing him once against the A's at Sutter Health Park and then twice in left field against the Mariners, I think that's probably the best path to go. This is not sourced information. I don't have the Astros lineups like in my text messages for the next 10 days. This is just me guessing. This is me just, informed speculation here, just based off what they've done in the past, what they want to do. And also let's also think about this too logically. They will have an off day after the last game in Denver on Wednesday. They have that day off Thursday. And then they start the series against the Mariners that Friday. They play, I believe, 13 games in a row. That starts a stretch of 13 games in a row. They're going to give guys off days. There will be just days where Carlos Correa gets a day off. Jeremy Peña gets a day off. Altuve gets a day off. Walker gets a day off. That will allow Isaac Paredes to get in the lineup, and they can get him in that way too. But this thought that they're going to just, plan in like, all right, we'll give, Peña an off day every week or Correa an off day every week, or like, I don't think that's realistic just because if these guys are hitting so well, like, why would you willingly take them out of the lineup? Like, why would you pre-plan that? And B, these guys don't want that. Like, we did this whole song and dance in spring training of talking to all these guys about, Altuve wants to play 150 games. Peña's not going to do it, but he wanted to play 162 games in spring training. Christian Walker, wants to be a guy that plays 150 games. Like, it's going to test a lot of Joe Espada's ability to communicate. It's going to test a lot of Joe Espada's ability to make sure everyone's pulling on the same rope. And there's no indication that that's not the case. I think these are all team first guys. I think these are guys that are going to accept their roles, but it's going to be a delicate balancing act. And I do not envy Joe Espada at all in how he's going to have to manage it the next, 162 minus 7? You taught math at one point.
155. 155.
Yeah, sure. How he's going to manage it across the next 155 games.
I taught history, so
okay.
Math was not my strong suit. It'd be one thing if Jordan had not been vocal about wanting to play left field. If it were just Espada saying we want him to be the DH, and then Jordan never had a comment on it, and you could kind of read in between the lines and say, he'll play left field, but he doesn't really like it. He publicly said, I want to play left field. I like doing it. I think I'm capable. So put him out there. I mean, again, look, if this were the World Series, your lineup for all 7 games would be, how do I get all of these guys in? And it would be Paredes at DH, it would be Altuve at second, and Jordan in left field. You just would. Like, I mean, I don't believe for a second that you would not have those guys in a lineup for the majority of a World Series. And again, until Jordan's not going to embarrass himself in left field. He has not made it known that he doesn't like playing left field. He has never been hurt from playing left field. Let him play. I mean, it's easy for me to say from here and not in the dugout, but I'm trying to get all of those guys into the lineup every day, and that seems to be the clearest path right now.
I guess, like, not that I don't take what Jordan Alvarez says seriously, like I do, but I've also heard him say this for like the last 4 years. When they this is a story every spring training.
Yeah, but they haven't needed it before. It was like, oh, I
Sure.
don't mind playing left field. Again, he's not David Ortiz. He's not incapable of playing left field. He can do it. And I mean, look, right now, you got the hottest offense in baseball. These are the guys that you want in the lineup. So again, just figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, but also, like, I think what I said earlier too, like, he's only played, his career high in games played in the outfield is 56. Like, even if they do what you were suggesting and just listen to him and say, screw it, put him in the outfield, like, his body, I don't think he is at a place, like, we've never seen him play more than 56 games in the outfield in a big league season. Like, are his legs in condition enough to do that? Like, we don't know. Like, right. I don't know that they want to take that risk. I don't know that they want to risk a top 5 hitter in baseball saying, like, you know what, he's never played more than 56 games in left field in his career. We're going to run him out there for 90 and just hope it works.
No, I mean, I'm like we said, you adjust as you go. If you play him back-to-back nights in left field and he says, hey, I'm more tired than usual, then you adjust your plan. But again, he's a professional athlete. He's in his 20s. Like, we're not asking somebody to do some impossible feat of athleticism. He mostly just has to stand in left field for the majority of the game. It's not like, you're asking him to run sprints or, do backflips out there. Like, most of the time you're jogging to pick up a grounder and throwing it back to second base. That's the majority of what you're going to need to do out there. And again, anything in the gap Jake Myers is going to go pick up anyway. You don't have to go get it. I don't know. I agree with you that the most important thing is healthy Jordan in the batter's box. But until it's not possible to do that, I would start with the assumption that this large athletic man is capable of playing left field on a regular basis.
And I mean, look, he is, but I think one other thing, some food for thought here. And you talked about it, like, if they were to go that path, they're going, most of, if not every time, Jordan Alvarez is going to be lifted for defensive purposes. If they have a lead, going into the 8th inning, and his spot, comes up in the 7th, and they know it's, 7 or 8 batters away, they're probably going to lift him in the 8th inning for a defensive replacement, especially if you have Bryce Matthews and Joey Loperfido on your bench. Like, why would you not? This is a team that you watched last year, missed the playoffs by 1 game. Are you comfortable with that situation happening? Like, you go into the 8th inning with a lead, Jordan's spot is 7 away in the lineup, and you lift him for defensive purposes, and then you have a bad bullpen night. The bullpen blows the game, and you have to go into the 9th or the 10th inning. Jordan Alvarez's spot's up in the order, and this is no disrespect to anybody on the bench, but you're sending up a lesser hitter. you're sending up Bryce Matthews, Joey Loperfido, Nick Allen, Christian Vasquez, whomever is on the bench. That's not to disparage them, but Jordan Alvarez is a better hitter than all of them. And you miss that opportunity. This is a team last year that missed the playoffs by 1 game. And I know you could look at any number of scenarios last year that cost them, but you run that risk. You run that risk of losing a game or not giving yourself the best chance to win a game that you may need down the road because you had to take him out for defense in the 8th inning.
See, I hear your logic, and I think the opposite, because I think, would I rather guarantee myself 3 Jordan at bats through the first 7 innings, and then maybe there's an off chance that there's 1 at bat that I miss later because of a defensive replacement? Or would I rather guarantee 3 at bats from the defensive replacement earlier in the game on the off chance that I need Jordan or Paredes or whatever later in the game? I'd rather him take as many at bats as I want all of the best hitters taking as many at bats as possible. And if the bullpen blows a game, the bullpen blows a game. It's not like you're missing out on everybody else. But look, in the 4th inning with guys on 2nd and 3rd is just as important as the 8th inning. And I know for sure that I'm going to get those at bats from my best hitters earlier in the game. And then I make a defensive replacement if I need to. But my main goal, if I am writing the lineup, is how do I get my best hitters as many at bats as possible?
No, you're not wrong. And that's a perfectly salient way to look at it too. And I wish I could climb into the heads of Joe Espada and Dana Brown, even though they have both said it out loud, kind of how they feel. Like, I wish I could understand and know what they hold more value in, because you're right. You're guaranteeing yourself 3 at bats from Jordan, and then like maybe not getting him in the 9th or the 10th that's a trade-off I think they'd make. They'd want 3 is more than 1.
He's 28
history,
years old, and he is a professional athlete. He will be okay standing in left field. I understand that you want better defense out there, and I understand the fear of losing him to an injury. He's not going to dive for a ball out there. He's not like he's mostly just going to be jogging and letting Jake Myers get everything else. Again, my final thing here, just get him in there until it is clear that it is not working anymore, and then make an adjustment. But don't start with the assumption that he is not capable of playing left field. I don't buy that.
I will say this, I don't think where they're coming from is they're not questioning his ability out there. Look, we're all, we're not idiots. Like, he's not a good left fielder, but he's not like a butcher.
Who cares?
He's not a butcher. He's not a good left fielder. It's somewhere in the middle. Like, I don't think that's ever been debated.
Jorge Soler made more embarrassing plays than Jordan has ever made. And, there are worse outfielders already playing every day.
But I don't think that has been the crux of why they are so reticent to put him out there. Like, it's never been about his ability. Like, that has something to do with it, but it's more of like, they need to make sure he's upright and can stand in the batter's box and do what he's done. Like, I think they're being more cautious and protective of his legs, of just his overall stamina, of his overall just existence. Because like we said, he has never done this more than 56 times in a big league season. And they need to be cognizant of that. They need to be cognizant of how his body will respond. And I don't know that they know that. I don't know that they want to even risk that either. In a season where we're going to bring it all back full circle now, in a season where the manager is managing for his job, the GM is GMing for his job, and the team, they've got to be able to ensure that this guy takes every at-bat that is available to him. And the easiest way to do that is to limit the wear and tear that he puts on himself. And the easiest way to do that is to not run him out in left field 90 to 100 games a year. That is where I think they are coming from. Again, they could in 2 weeks reverse course and say he's our everyday left fielder. But it has helped. It has made it more difficult that Joey Loperfido has played very well. Bryce Matthews is still swinging and missing too much. He's still striking out too much, but he has, I mean, he hit a ball 430 feet. He's made some nice. I mean, he had Trevor Story. Trevor Story made an incredible slide to avoid the tag, but made a very nice throw in left field. He's looked good in left field, and he's athletic enough to run around in these bigger ballparks, and he's more suited for that than Alvarez is. That has an impact too. That these guys have played well. That these guys have showed well on the in forming this platoon. And look, they can get those guys work in center field as well. Jake Myers did not distinguish himself during this homestand, so they can find ways to get Loperfido and Matthews, get them some run in center field as well to still keep left field open if they wanted to put Yordan Alvarez out there. But there's that too. So I think we've sufficiently riled up enough people talking about the glut. Otherwise, on this road trip, they're going to face the A's are going to throw 2 left-handed starters this weekend at Sutter Health Park, which means you may see a good bit of Bryce Matthews because he is the side of the platoon that they want there. He's going to have to, like we said, he struck out, I think, 9 times on the homestand. That's always been his bugaboo, is he doesn't make a ton of contact. He doesn't put the ball in play. We have seen when he puts the ball in play, he can go very far. But he's got to make more contact. Joey Loperfido will get some run against, the right-handed starters that they do see, the right-handed relievers late in games. But otherwise, this is a road trip that the Rockies are the Rockies. The A's have not started their season well. They don't pitch it very well, but that lineup bangs. That lineup can bang a lot. We have seen it firsthand. Nick Kurtz, who I don't think has a homer yet. I don't think he has an extra base hit yet.
Don't you worry.
He loves hitting against the Astros, so that could come very soon. And then the Mariners, obviously that'll be a fun series to watch. It'll be, again, I'm not going to sit here and say it's crucial. I'm not going to say if they go up there and get swept, it's the end of the season, or if they go up there and sweep, they're going to win the West. But it's they'd rather win them than lose them. But I don't think on April 7th that it's going to determine the trajectory of the season. But it should be a fun road trip. Should be fun. Should be fun. Fun 3-city 10-game trip.
Yeah, I am dreading seeing those children on the Athletics who hit really well, Kurtz and Jacob Wilson.
Shea Langoliers is hitting.
Shea Langoliers is off. He has 5 home runs.
Yep.
5 home runs. But they can't pitch, and they play in a minor league ballpark, so whatever. They'll figure it out. The Mariners, I mean, you only play them now, 13 times a year? What's the...
I think it's 13, yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, every game is huge. Again, I mean, it came down to 1 game last year for the Astros. So they're just as big in April as they are later in the season. So definitely a big road trip, and that's why you want all your good players in the lineup.
And we'll see if they're able to do that. If they are able to do that this weekend in Sacramento, we will bring you full coverage, debating every lineup decision, scrutinizing and analyzing every decision from this weekend in Sacramento on the next Crush City Territory. But until then, you can follow me on X at Chandler_Rome. You can follow Tyler at Tyler C. Stafford. Please rate and review us on Apple and Spotify. Please like the YouTube video and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get notified every time we post a new pod. Like I said, we will be back probably on Sunday night to recap the A's series, kind of see what they were able to do with this glut of infielders, whether Joe listens to Tyler and just plays Yordan Alvarez in left field every day to get everybody in the lineup, or whether, they're just going to be cautious with him. But until then, have a very nice Easter weekend, everyone, and we will talk to you soon.
The Yordan Gold Glove campaign starts right now. Bye.